Okay, carrying on with the solving of the simple equations by using the opposite approach. Here we got a divide 3, which on the other side becomes a times 3. So the letter A had to be 21 because 7 times 3 is 21. Now you can see that that's true because 21 when shared by 3 does give you the 7. Same thing. If I take that across the other side, it becomes a times B. Now that's a bit more awkward. We're saying that 24 is equal to 3 lots of B. So therefore B has to be 8 because 3 times 8 is 24. Now you could have thought that another way. Through guesswork arguably, B can't be 1 because 24 divided by 1 is 24. Can't be 2 because 24 divided by 2 is 12. Can't be 3 because 24 divided by 3 is 8. And you go through your changing your B, but it's a long-winded approach, and you eventually come to the fact that it has to be 8 because 24 divided by 8 is 3. But the way I've done it is by far the quickest. Solving these standard simple equations, minus 7 becomes a plus 7, so that gives me 18 on that side, 11 plus 7 being 18, so that means that that 2x at the front has to be an 18. You can see that, 18, take the 7, would give you 11. Anyway, going through the 2 times table, the letter x has to be a 9. Repeating the same maths here. Plus 31 becomes a take 31, well 55, take the 31 gives you 24. So that 6h at the front has to be 24. Well that means if I go through my 6 times table, the letter h have to be 4 because 6 4s are 24. Now there's 2 ways of tackling this one. I'm going with what the majority would go with, which is removing the bracket first. So 2 times y is 2y, take, 2 times 3 is 6, and that should equal 6, So I've just removed the bracket. Now I apply the same approach that I did in the last example. Minus 6 becomes a plus 6, so that gives me 12, 6 plus 6 is being 12. So 2y has to be 12, which means that the letter y has to be 6, because 2 6s makes 12. Another one like that. Remove the bracket. 4 times 2p is 8p. Minus sign, so minus sign. 4 times 3 is 12, and that has to equal 52. Put the 12 to the side, becomes a plus 12, because it said take 12 there. So that gives me 64. So that 8p at the front has to be 64. Going through your 8 times table, 8 8s are 64, so the letter P must be an 8. Now this one is taken from an exam paper. Now t plus t plus t is 3 t's. So you could think of this as being 3 t's equals 12, which means that the letter t has to be a 4, because 3 4s make 12. Minus 2 becomes a plus 2, so quite simply the letter x has to be 8. That's a simple 1 mark question. With c, we've got very much like some of the others I've already done. Plus 2 becomes a take 2, so I've got 18. 20 take 2 is 18. So 6 w's has to equal 18, which means that the w has to equal 3. One more. Now this one's a bit of a nasty one. It's only worth 1 mark, but I use the same approach that I did on an earlier one. Take the n across the other side, becomes a times n, so I've basically got 2 times n. Now this one doesn't belong to a times table, so it's arguably better to think of it as a division. The letter n has to be 7 shared by 2, or if you wish 3.5. Now you could have sussed that it's 3.5 by saying, well, 2 3s makes 6, 2 4s makes 8, so it's got to be somewhere between those 2 numbers, and it's halfway. 2 3.5s makes the 7. But as I said, in earlier examples, times 2 becomes a divide 2, and 7 divided by 2, you could leave it like that if you wish. The next one, plus 4 becomes a take 4. So when I take 4 off that, I get 15. So that 3G has to be 15, which means that the letter G has to be 5, because 3 5s make 15. And finally, remove the bracket. 3 4s are 12, so 12x, plus sign, 3 times the 1 is 3, has to equal 63. Plus 3 becomes a take 3, so I get 60. Now for 12x to equal 60, the letter x has to equal 5, going through your 12 times 2.